This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Tonight's Republican victory, what Donald Trump's return to the White House could mean for Nova Scotians.
Fresh faces at City Hall. A record number of women are sworn in as HRM councillors.
And cookbook for a cause. Cape Breton's best baloney recipes go to print.
Some record-breaking temperatures today, but this cold front is shifting the winds to north and bringing in a much cooler air mass to end the week. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. By now, you no doubt know Donald Trump has completed a stunning comeback, reclaiming the U.S. presidency after a 4-year absence.
His party also won back the Senate and may yet take the House. The CBC's Susan Ormiston is in Michigan, where Republicans say the results show that the Democratic leadership is out of touch with Americans.
Cheers and tears for Trump's historic comeback. Michigan Republicans celebrating into the early hours. Jason Bright has followed Trump for 9 years.
He's the only one. He did it once, and he'll do it again. And we have that faith, you know. And that's what we've been keeping the faith, you know. And it's just nice to see this right now.
Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Trump inspired them to vote to take back a country they believe is falling into decline and has moved too far to the left. Michigan's split in a rural-urban divide echoed in many parts of the country.
Democrats don't care about middle America. They are the party of the coast, and this Republican Party is painting Michigan red tonight because they actually care about people in the middle part of the country.
By putting Americans' prosperity back rightfully where it belongs, in our own country.
Trump's message, dark and foreboding for many, was dismissed by his supporters.
Oh my gosh, I was giddy. You couldn't believe it. I had people texting me at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Jim Vaca's convinced Trump can supercharge the economy at home and solve foreign wars.
The first thing that I hope he does is go in there and let's get this war in Ukraine and Russia stopped. Let's get the war in Israel and Gaza stopped. I'm a veteran myself. There's nothing good that comes out of war.
In the end, Donald Trump was able to capture a variety of constituencies, including Latinos.
When Trump was in office, we had the best border security ever in the history of this nation. It wasn't perfect, but it was the best one. And under Biden and Kamala, we had the worst one ever in history.
Donald Trump gave a nod last night to a promise to unite this country, but after one of the nastiest elections in recent history and fears of a grievance campaign once he's in office, America remains deeply divided. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, near Detroit, Michigan.
Donald Trump has vowed to put a 10% tariff on all imported goods. Fred Bergman, senior policy advisor with the Atlantic Economic Council, says if implemented, such a tariff could create a drag on the economy here in Nova Scotia.
Last year, for example, Nova Scotia exported about $4.4 billion worth of goods to the U.S., and that was about 67% of what's called our international merchandise goods exports. So it's certainly a large player for companies like Michelin, North America, for example, which might export tires to the U.S., or Clearwater Seafoods that might export live lobster to the U.S. And those are just two hypothetical examples.
Bergman says if tariffs are imposed, there are still mechanisms in place to address trade disputes to potentially help soften the economic blow.
Nova Scotia's political leaders reacted to the news of Donald Trump's win today. Liberal leader Zach Churchill says he's concerned Trump's presidency will impact trade between the province and the U.S. Churchill says whoever leads the province after this election needs to be part of any trade talks between Canada and the States.
We need to make sure that our largest export market, the United States, is still going to be our largest export market. And obviously negotiating a trade agreement is going to be important for that. So anybody leading this province needs to be at the table with the federal government when we do that. We currently have an exclusion to tariffs in the Maritimes on softwood lumber. That needs to be protected as well.
Meanwhile, NDP leader Claudia Chender says she woke up this morning, quote, saddened and disheartened by last night's election results in the U.S.
I think the impact will be remembering how important it is to value those things that we hold dear, to vote, and to make sure that we don't take our freedoms and our community values and our love and care for one another for granted.
Chender says when it comes to Trump's protectionist rhetoric around trade, the province will have to wait and see what happens. PC leader Tim Houston, however, would not comment on the election results.
Well, as Canadians woke up to the news of Trump's win, we asked some people in downtown Halifax for their thoughts first thing this morning.
I'm actually lost for words. I don't actually know what to say because I'm very surprised that Trump won again, especially given his past kind of as president.
I smiled, happy. I wasn't like ecstatic. I don't worship him or anything, but like the better of the two options for sure.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Makes you wonder what's going on in the U.S. of A.
I think it's gonna get way worse. I think he's gonna try and flip rules and get away with more, and I think he's gonna follow through with a lot of stuff he said in the campaign.
But I think overall, the bigger picture, the bigger economy, the whole country as a whole, I think will suffer. I think the world will suffer as a result of this, I'm afraid.
Well, as you saw there, it was a beautiful morning in Halifax and a fantastic day as well.
Yeah, things really got warm.
Yeah, another very warm one. And we did set a couple of records today, but on this date 2 years ago, it was very warm as well. And that's where most of the records still stand, is from 2022. High temperatures today. High teens, some low 20s, including in the Halifax area. But Sydney and Port Hawkesbury, those are two spots that indeed set records today, both daily records. And for Sydney, 23 degrees today is an all-time new record for the month of November. So never has it been that warm in the month of November. Edmundston, New Brunswick also setting a record there. So tomorrow, a much, much different story with the west to northwest winds. High temperatures are going to be in the 10 to 14 range for most of us. Isolated shower chances for tomorrow, but indeed they will be just that. This cold front moves through this evening into the overnight. That's our greatest risk of showers. With that northerly flow tomorrow, as I said, it is going to be much cooler. And then throughout the day, we're just going to be seeing, some clouds kicking up and a few isolated showers holding on just the tail end of this front as it moves off to the east. And then for Thursday night into Friday, we will continue to see a chance for a shower coming in from the Gulf into Cape Breton, including the risk potentially of a flurry. This system brings us another chance for showers late Friday, and on the backside of this system, more cool air and the better potential for some flurries late Saturday. We'll talk about that coming up in your full forecast with your 7-day.
All the details on the way. Thanks so much,
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
RCMP say an 81-year-old woman from Yarmouth has died following a collision near Brooklyn on Monday morning. Officers were called to a collision between a car and a truck at the intersection of Greenville Road and Hardscratch Road. The driver of the car was pronounced dead at the scene, while a passenger was brought to hospital. The driver of the truck suffered minor injuries.
Well, today is day 11 of the Nova Scotia election. PC leader Tim Houston was out campaigning today and did not make any announcements, but the other two party leaders had promises relating to health care and housing. The NDP said today they will open 45 new primary care clinics in the first 3 years of government, if elected. Claudia Chender says the clinics would be located in communities with the greatest need and be scattered across the province. She says it would cost $60 million in the first year.
We have a record of bringing collaborative care to Nova Scotia in the form of collaborative emergency centers. We know the difference that those have made, particularly in communities like Sackville with the Cobequid Center. And we have been consistent in our position and in our advocacy for this system for years. So we'll get it done.
The Liberals promised to create a rent bank system similar to the one in British Columbia. The rent banks offer interest-free loans to renters who need up to $3,500 to cover rent or utilities. Those who borrow have up to 3 years to pay the money back. Liberal leader Zach Churchill says setting up the same system in this part of the country will help keep people from losing their homes.
This rent bank, we think, is a really good idea that can help people when they're experiencing financial distress and can't make their rent payments. It'll help protect them so they can stay in their home and ensure that the landlord also gets paid for that month's rent.
According to the Liberals' platform, the province would invest $2 million to kickstart the rent bank.
There are plenty of new faces on Halifax's municipal council. 16 councillors and mayor were sworn in last night. It is the first time the city has had a new mayor in 12 years, and there are more women in City Hall than ever before. The CBC's Haley Ryan was there.
The new council was sworn in at the Central Library on Tuesday. New Mayor Andy Fillmore thanked outgoing Mayor Mike Savage for his service, and Savage handed over the chain of office. Fillmore, the former Liberal MP for Halifax, won the race for mayor on election night last month.
Our work really needs to be focused on housing and affordability, on roadway congestion and improving public transit, and on affordability and diversity. So that's where the work ahead lies, and we've got lots of really good work to build on.
Fillmore says he's proud to be mayor for a council that is predominantly female for the first time. 9 of the 16 councillors are women.
That feels amazing. It's so, I'm so happy because, more women, the better things run.
Hinch is only the second Black woman to be elected to Halifax Council ever. She's one of many new faces at City Hall. Besides Fillmore, 7 of the 16 councillors are new. Second-term councillor Patty Cuddle says it's been a nice change to meet and plan with the new councillors. The last election happened in the first year of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We were all kind of stuck on Zoom for almost 2 years, and we didn't have that opportunity to learn from each other or have those discussions or share those ideas or ask those questions. So I think this will be a really different experience, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Council's first meeting is on November 12th. Haley Ryan, CBC News, Halifax.
Well, a few months ago, Cape Bretoners were asked about their favorite Baloney dish, and now those recipes are the stars of their very own cookbook.
And the proceeds are being used for a good cause. Aaron Potty has the details.
It all started with a summertime contest known as Baloney Bonanza. 3 Cape Breton pharmacies asked customers to submit their favorite Baloney recipes for a chance to win a year's supply of the beloved deli meat. Now those entries have been compiled into a fundraising cookbook.
It's full of baloney is not only the concept of the book, but it is also very relatable for Cape Bretoners, and it's a common expression that you hear around here. So a lot of people start with a good laugh, and then it's kind of that heartwarming, fuzzy feeling when you buy a book because you know that you're making an impact directly here in our communities.
More than 100 recipes were submitted to the PharmaSave promotion. Organizers whittled them down to just 33 dishes.
Baloney stew, hands down my favorite recipe in the book, which really threw me off. I did not expect to like it, but I could not get enough. And I made it a little bit on the heartier side, and it was very filling, so flavorful, and it will be one that makes another occurrence in my household.
Michael McDonald is a language and communications professor at Cape Breton University. He says the island's relationship with baloney is deep and meaningful.
People really saw it as part of growing up and part of their life and part of their family. And it was interesting because it didn't matter what political group you were from or what religion you were or where you were from in Cape Breton, baloney was something that people enjoyed.
McDonald says for decades, baloney was found in lunch cans of school kids, miners, and steelworkers. And for many, there's a sense of nostalgia.
It takes us back in time to an era when baloney was cheap and you couldn't afford anything else, you had baloney. But now, baloney isn't so cheap, but it's nostalgic, and you can't really put a price on something that makes you feel all of those feels.
All proceeds for the book support local food banks in Sydney and Glace Bay, and about 100 copies have already been sold. Aaron Potty, CBC News, Glace Bay.
I didn't know there was bologna recipes. My mother only fried it in the pan.
Have you ever had bologna stew?
I might try it now.
That's right. There's a beautiful shot over Halifax Harbor. Ryan's up next with the weather forecast.
Yeah, what did you say, Ryan? 23 degrees in Sydney today?
Short sleep weather.
That's impressive.
I didn't see anybody in shorts today. I wasn't really out other than
You
coming
weren't
into the
wearing
building. I wasn't.
No, you thought about it?
Currently wearing pants as well, so
That's a good thing.
Yeah, but yeah, listen, it was warm enough to wear shorts.
It was,
especially in Cape Breton. Those were some of the warmest temps. West to southwest flow, lots of sun. In case you missed it, have a look at these highs again. 22 in Port Hawkesbury, 23 in Sydney. Those were the two spots that did set daily records. Again, 2022 on this very date was a little bit warmer than this. And so that's where most of the records still hold because, today didn't quite get there. Look at where we are right now, still quite mild. If you look off to New Brunswick, you can see where the yellow contour becomes green. Excuse me. That is where that cold front is currently working its way through. And so down to the single digits in Edmundston and Miramichi, and that frontal boundary will continue to sink south, and we're all going to be back into the single digits tonight. Still 20 degrees at the Caribou Point Station and at Port Hawkesbury. Those southwest winds, they have been breezy today, have they not? Sustained in the 20-30 range, 43 at Beaver Island there along the coast. We're gusting upwards of 30 to 40, 50 kilometers per hour at times as expected today. There's the front. The showers along that front, showers ahead of the front, Cape Breton earlier, then back across into the mainland here. This is where we have been seeing already a few showers ahead of that front, which will continue to sail from north to south this evening, shifting our winds to northwest, ushering in that drier, cooler air mass for tomorrow. A couple of lows to keep an eye on off to the west, but overall, the big notable thing as we look at this map is the temperature contrast again. -1 in Regina, a bit of a Chinook warming things up there in Alberta today. -2 in Denver, 20 in Oklahoma City, 30 at Brownsville, and you can see the warm temps into the south and east of the United States. Now, for tonight, temperatures are going to be back in the 6 to 9 range for the most part. So that northwest wind certainly dropping temperatures, but not enough time for them to really cool down like they will in the coming nights. So this model doing a pretty good job of showing where those showers are now and the possibilities this evening and into the overnight. And then for tomorrow, what we're going to be seeing is a kind of a mix of sun and cloud with the possibility of just a few showers firing up in this cooler air mass. Nothing too significant, but certainly the risk is there. So do keep that in mind. Note the potential for a few flurries here across the Cape Breton Highlands, perhaps tomorrow evening. More where that came from, as you'll see here in just a moment. Temperatures across Cape Breton ranging between 8 and 10 degrees for the most part. Could squeak up towards 11, southern Richmond County down towards Port Hawkesbury and into the central parts of the province. Temperatures ranging between around 10 and 13 with those northwest winds, 20 to 30 kilometers per hour, gusts to 30 at times. We'll see the temperatures, greatest chance that we'll get into the 14 range from Yarmouth to Kedzie, Shelburne, Liverpool, Bridgewater, and Lunenburg. Can't rule out maybe a 15 spot in here with that northwest wind, depending on how much sun we do see. Now that front moves off, and then we've got this next low coming in. Look at the snow with this. 'Tis the season. Gaspé going to see some snow with this. And then for us, brief warm up Friday, not really enough to bump temperatures up a whole lot, but should be in the 10 to 12 range in the south and west. Still hanging on to the single digits in the northeast. And then that front will sail through again, evening showers for Friday, but it looks like we'll be dry throughout the afternoon. And then on the other side of this front, that cooler air wrapping in with this cold pocket of air, and that will spark the possibility of not only showers on Saturday, primarily in the east, but good potential for some graupel, those snow pellets mixing in, and a few flurries likely Saturday evening, especially in higher terrain areas on the tail end of that system. Temperatures in the mid-single digits Saturday, bumping up a little bit warmer on Sunday, keeping an eye on that Remembrance Day forecast, fingers and toes crossed that system is going to hold off until we move into the afternoon. It's going to be right on the borderline, but again, hoping that Monday morning will remain dry for all those ceremonies happening.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted on that, Tom and Amy.
Yeah, let's hope so. Okay, Ryan, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ryan.
Coming up, we speak with an expert on the economy about what Donald Trump's re-election means for Atlantic Canada.
Welcome back. The election of Donald Trump could have a major impact on the economy here at home.
One of his promises is a minimum 10% global tariff, and that could apply to Canadian goods sent to the U.S. Anis Haderi looks at how a Trump-led government could affect this country's bottom line.
Exports like billions of dollars in Canadian grain could be hit hard by tariffs.
Any type of distortion in that trade with our American counterparts will have a direct impact on the 65,000 grain farmers whose livelihoods are all across the country.
The soon-to-be and former president saying he wants to impose a 10% charge on anything going into the United States.
It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously.
It may not actually work that way. Tariffs are paid by whoever imports something, so buying from Canada would become more expensive.
Canadian manufacturers are not going to be in a good space if Trump is going to slap on tariffs across the board.
More than just manufacturers, it could affect anything Canada exports to the United States, from agriculture to commodities like steel.
That would impact jobs and investment in those sectors, and therefore that would ripple through the Canadian economy.
Automotive parts cross the border a lot, and higher tariffs could get passed on to consumers buying cars, though industry reps say past experience hints that isn't a concern for Trump.
I don't think he got it on who pays the tariff, but I don't think he cared. What he knew that by making that threat, we'd come to the table with some concessions. That was the important piece.
Stock markets in the United States may be telling us that investors are confident after Election Day, with gains on the Dow Jones and S&P indexes, along with the tech-heavy NASDAQ. Even Bitcoin hit record highs. But closer to home, the Canadian dollar dropped to a 2-year low as the U.S. dollar shot up on the news of President-elect Trump. Anis Haderi, CBC News, Toronto.
Fred Bergman is Senior Policy Advisor with Atlantic Economic Council. Mr. Bergman, now that we have another Trump administration, what could that mean economically speaking for this region?
Well, certainly we saw during the last Trump administration that we had to renegotiate NAFTA, and it became what we now call in Canada CUSMA, the Canada-U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Agreement, with obviously some concessions there. I think we saw some tariffs during Trump's administration on things like steel and aluminum, if I recall. Trump, during his election platform commitment, so I think one of them was to levy a tariff of 10% or more on all countries, including Canada, despite our free trade agreement. So this could certainly create some friction and also increase the cost of exporting to the U.S. for Canadian manufacturers and other exporters. So it would reduce our businesses' competitiveness. And certainly it would create some other issues in terms of the dispute resolution mechanism, even within CUSMA. It may take a few years for that to weed its way through the system to address such tariffs, which should not be allowed under CUSMA.
So, I mean, that's a good point. Clearly, dealing with a protectionist type government is challenging at the best of times. Any sense of what it could mean economically in terms of kind of dollar impact or the size of the issue?
Well, certainly it's hard to assess the exact impact, but we do know last year, for example, Nova Scotia exported about $4.4 billion worth of goods to the U.S., and that was about 67% of what's called our international merchandise goods exports. So it's certainly a large player for companies like Michelin, North America, for example, which might export tires to the U.S., or Clearwater Seafoods that might export live lobster to the U.S. And those are just two hypothetical examples.
You alluded earlier there to the earlier Trump administration. We've seen the movie before, but might things be any different this time around compared to the last Trump administration?
Well, that's a good question. Canada since then has implemented a digital services tax on the U.S. So companies like Google or Meta or even Twitter would be subject to, now called X, would be subject to that digital services tax. I know the other incumbent that was running for presidency had committed to address that through some sort of reciprocal or residual measure against Canada. The question mark is, will Trump try to address that as well? So will the gloves come off?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there in due course, I suppose. But, you know, if you're a consumer watching this, you're thinking about inflation maybe being a factor in all this. You know, how real and how impactful could that be?
Well, certainly if it becomes a tit for tat, like, you know, the U.S. levies tariffs on our exports to the U.S. and then Canada starts levying tariffs on U.S. Imports into Canada, certainly that will impact supply chains on both sides of the border, as well as inflation potentially on both sides of the border. But it's hard to predict. It's a wait and see of what exact goods are impacted. Is it all goods? Is it only certain goods and services? And how does this trickle down to the everyday household or consumer? So that's a wait and see. But yes, it could have inflationary impacts on pricing because tariffs add to the cost of things.
And so when you think about all of that, is Nova Scotia or this region, the economy here, any more exposed or less exposed than anywhere else?
Well, certainly we were already exposed, even pre-Trump. Like we've had tariffs on softwood lumber for a number of years, but it's only applies to New Brunswick and other provinces outside the region. So the rest of the Atlantic provinces have been effectively exempted from the softwood lumber tariffs. But forest producers in New Brunswick have been having to pay softwood lumber tariffs to the U.S. In order to export their lumber to the U.S. for a number of years now. So it's a question mark of, will this make that issue worse or better? That's a wait and see. But we're already seeing impacts of existing tariffs, let alone what might come from the Trump administration.
And so overall, generally speaking, how much of a drag on the economy could that mean?
Well, certainly it could be significant if there was a 10% or more tariff on all Canadian exports of goods and services to the U.S. That's going to be a significant drag in the economy. But let's face it, diplomatically, Canada would take significant efforts to address it. That's a massive tariff. And I don't want to send fear down the economy or through supply chains, but we have to recognize there are definitely risks. I think there will be something forthcoming that's not going to be good for Canada, but let's not, ring the alarm bell like the sky is falling at the same time, because there are means to address some of these issues. We do have CUSMA. We do have a dispute resolution mechanism. We can fall back on that. There's lots of options for Canada to address this, go forward. And if anything, these two countries, we're long-standing allies. We're long-standing trading partners. There's long-standing supply chain relationships between all three countries within CUSMA, within North America. Let's face it, U.S. companies don't want those supply chains impacted too much either. So I'm sure they'll have a strong vocal voice in this, not just Canada.
Yeah, we shall see how it all plays out, of course. Fred Bergman, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Coming up, concession speech. VP Kamala Harris concedes the presidential election to Donald Trump.
Buy a house, get a check. As Canadian home prices soar, cashback realtors are splitting commissions with buyers. Welcome back. We continue our coverage of the U.S. election results. Kamala Harris conceded defeat in a speech earlier today.
Here's part of what the Democrats' presidential candidate had to say.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright.
An impending Trump presidency poses a new set of challenges for the Trudeau government and for Canadian-American relations. Rafi Boudjikanian reports on The View from Ottawa the day after the election.
Almost overnight, the main question on this government's agenda, what now? The Prime Minister's words to the returning President Trump essentially welcome back.
I look forward to working with President Trump once again to strengthen North American economic opportunities for the middle class.
But different views on the economy may become one of the bigger hurdles between the two leaders to overcome. Trump has promised to impose a global 10% tariff on all imported goods, including Canada's.
We have been very, very conscientious, very systematic about maintaining our relationship.
Another Trump promise Canada is keeping an eye on.
And on day one, I will launch the largest deportation program of criminals.
That kind of talk has the government here on guard, insisting there's a plan to protect the Canadian border, though details are slim.
Having an open trading relationship, but a strengthened border is an important part of the context in which Canada and the United States can succeed.
The party in power is not the only one watching the change in government south of the border. In a tweet, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre congratulated Trump too, stating in part, "The U.S. is Canada's best friend and biggest trading partner, and I will work with the president to benefit both countries." He also used the opportunity to attack the Prime Minister.
What President Trump must not understand, must actually find kind of humorous, is that while he wants to take jobs from other countries and give them to Americans, he sees here in Canada a prime minister that wants to help him do it. Yeah. Let's review the track record. He brought in a massive tax on energy.
Here we see the Conservative leader cherry-picking his numbers.
With the countdown on for Canadians heading to the polls no later than next October, which party here benefits from Trump's return to the White House is an open question. Sources tell CBC News Trudeau and his Liberal caucus spent their entire meeting today speaking about the U.S. election results. But the Prime Ministers had to wait to speak with Trump himself, who addressed other world leaders such as India's Narendra Modi and China's Xi Jinping first. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
U.S. President Joe Biden has so far failed to bring peace to Israel and its enemies, and now attention turns to Donald Trump. The CBC's Chris Brown looks at how Trump's victory is viewed in the Middle East.
Many Palestinians watching Donald Trump's victory amid a destroyed Gaza say they feel no good will come of it. Today, the Americans voted for an administration that's refused a two-state solution, said Abu Osama Naim. So the war will continue and destruction will continue. Israeli attacks have killed 43,000 Palestinians in the past 13 months, according to Gaza's health ministry. Israel says it's targeting Hamas militants, although the vast majority of the dead are civilians, with more killed Wednesday. Biden could not stop the war, but I think Trump will stop the war so he can claim a success for himself, said Safwat al-Khahouki, on a rare note of optimism. In his first term, Trump's policies were strongly pro-Israel, including recognizing illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. During a presidential debate, Trump said this about Israel's war in Gaza.
And you should let him go and let him finish the job.
In his imagination of, quote, finish the job, I don't think that he means that there should be a ceasefire. I don't think he means that Israel should be stopping. I think that he means that he's going to let Israel do whatever it wants to do.
Despite the immense civilian casualties in Gaza, the Biden administration has repeatedly refused calls to sanction Israel or to hold back weapon shipments, even as it's pushed Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to agree to a ceasefire. One of the few senior Israeli politicians also pushing for a halt to the war was Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Just hours before Trump's win, Netanyahu fired him.
By removing Gallant, he is removing an obstacle for perpetuating the war and perpetuating his grip on power.
Thousands of Israelis took to the streets in protest, and there may be court hearings to try to overturn Netanyahu's decision. But for now, Israel's prime minister has likely strengthened a key ally and eliminated a rival. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Millions of Americans also voted on the issue of reproductive rights in their states last night. 10 states had abortion measures on the ballot. Voters in at least 7 of them expanded or protected abortion rights. In Missouri, voters approved a measure to overturn the state's near total abortion ban. However, Florida's ban on abortions after the 6th week of pregnancy will stay in place after an attempt to overturn it failed.
In other news, realtors often earn a hefty commission when helping someone buy a home. And as home prices have soared, so have their fees. But as Nisha Patel explains, some home buyers are getting a discount by using cashback realtors.
It's an excellent home.
When Mehrdad Kayeri bought his dream house in Toronto, he scored nearly $35,000 back.
I figured by using a cashback realtor, this would really help us with the mortgage.
His realtor earned 2.5% commission and returned a chunk of that to him, a perk for buyers who hunt for houses themselves online.
With so many tools nowadays, online tools like House Sigma and MLS, my wife and I did the bulk of the heavy lifting.
All realtors earn commission when they represent someone who buys a home. Cashback realtors give some of that money back to the buyer. The amount of the rebate depends on the percentage negotiated and the price of the house. But with average selling prices in cities like Toronto and Vancouver topping $1 million, it can add up to a lot of cash.
Commissions are very rich, and I think it's a good thing if these things are negotiated.
Here's the master bedroom.
Many traditional realtors insist their compensation is fair and argue that smaller fees could lead to worse service.
Well, it varies across markets.
This real estate expert says doing your due diligence is key.
Make sure you kick the tires. I want to check, see how many transactions they've taken care of in the past year. If they have a lot of experience, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
For cashback realtors, the model may be a way to attract clients at a time when home sales have slowed. Alex Kvitnitsky gives up as much as 50% of his commission.
It's a nice bonus to have when you get a rebate that you can allocate towards whatever thing that you want to spend your money on.
He says these days home buyers are often far along in the process by the time they come to him.
Buyers are now very, very savvy. They want to be a part of the process, and so they do their own research. They look for their own properties.
As the industry changes, his fees are changing too. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, this time of year can bring some strange weather. Warm one day, cold the next. The CBC Ottawa's Natalia Goodwin explains what those swings mean for our health.
The weather this fall in Ottawa has been odd. We've seen huge swings in temperatures from the near freezing mark into the 20s. We've even beaten some records. So you may be wondering, is this normal?
But it's actually not unusual for fall. It is a transitional season where we're going from those long, warm summer days to the short, cold winter days. So certainly it is actually the season that we see the most fluctuations of the year. But what we have noticed is this year in particular, with our big fluctuations, they're on the warm side.
Kidd says this current spike is caused by the weather, persistent southerly winds that are coming from the warm southern U.S. and the fact that our jet stream is to the north of us. But our Earth is warming, and Ottawa continues to be warmer than normal on a monthly basis. Environment Canada is expecting November will be the same. And climate experts tell us to expect unpredictable weather with climate change. But as we're in cold and flu season, you might also be wondering, will these whiplash temperatures make me get sick? Turns out it's not a super simple answer. Doctors say the swings in temperature don't make you end up with a virus, but temperature changes do cause an inflammatory response in the nose. Now that can reduce the ability to clear respiratory viruses. And the seesaw of temperatures can also negatively affect our ability to fight off those infections. Some studies have shown adverse outcomes for those with certain prior conditions, such as cardiovascular disease and COPD. Now, warmer temperatures can also increase the amount of airborne allergens like pollen or fungal spores into the air, triggering allergies and asthma. But what doctors are really worried about is that overall warming trend. They warn that extreme temperatures, especially heat, can cause all kinds of issues, from heat stroke to air pollution from forest fires causing more disease. And extreme storms can disrupt the supply chain for medical supplies. And they say changes to our season are also a concern.
It used to be that certain bugs wouldn't be able to survive Canadian winters. Well, now with milder winters, they can, which is why you're seeing more Lyme disease relative to what we were seeing 20 years ago. Mosquitoes that all of a sudden couldn't survive the Canadian winter are now able to survive, and so we're getting more viruses transmitted by mosquitoes, and that's why you're seeing more cases of what we used to typically think of as tropical diseases now being present in North America.
We're going to have to find ways to deal with these new health risks. Doctors are even seeing malaria popping up in Europe, meaning before we travel, there will be more countries to check for diseases like that in order to protect ourselves. All a part of living on a changing planet. Natalia Goodwin, CBC News, Ottawa.
Rising coffee bean prices are brewing some concerns for local roasters and coffee shop owners in the Maritimes. And this may cause your next coffee to cost you more. The CBC's Taylor O'Brien has more.
People like Brett Bunston, who roast and sell coffee, are watching the price of beans rising and trying to figure out what that might mean for them and their customers. Bunston has owned Caledonia Coffee House in Charlottetown for 37 years. He's getting ready to pass the business along to his son, but Bunston says he would feel better if he thought it would last his son's lifetime.
Now I'm not so certain.
Bunston is one of many coffee shop owners that are feeling the pinch of rising prices, specifically the cost of coffee beans. He says sales drinks especially have dropped.
It's going to become more and more of a luxury, and people that used to drink it every day may only drink it twice a week. It's going to get that expensive.
According to Statistics Canada, at the beginning of the year, the cost of a bag of 340 grams of coffee was around $6.30. In August, that price had jumped to roughly $7.60. That's an increase of more than 20%. So why is coffee getting more expensive? One of the reasons is climate change.
And in particular, the two top producers of coffee in the world, Brazil and Vietnam, both have actually been impacted by severe droughts. So production levels have actually have dropped, and that's why it's pushing prices higher.
Over at the Fifth Wave in Charlottetown, owner Laura Noel says she isn't seeing fewer customers, but she says they are ordering fewer fancy coffees because of the general cost of living. Noel says she isn't planning on raising prices right now.
Control what we're doing here, so as long as we're monitoring and really cracking down on the numbers, making sure that everything is covered, that's all I can do.
While Bunston and Noel aren't raising their prices right now, Charlebois says local coffee shops might end up having to adjust their prices to cost 5 to 15 cents more. But other factors like rent and minimum wage could make a trip to the coffee shop cost more. Taylor O'Brien, CBC News, Charlottetown.
U.S. stocks surged today after Donald Trump's win, with the Dow Jones gaining 3.6%, while Canadian markets rose by 1%. Here's a look at how the markets did today as we head to break. Well, I bet you there were a few people who took a stroll on a beach somewhere in Nova Scotia today, don't you think?
Get out and enjoy it while you can, right?
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, there's been some lovely sunsets recently, and folks are really filling up the inbox as we love it. Ryan's Picks at CBC.ca. Have a look at this. This one from the Halifax area, and Joseph Robichaud has shared pictures before. This one,
lovely.
Yeah.
With the moon there.
So
That's
calming,
and the
isn't it?
star. And
Venus, I believe, above the moon. I do believe.
Okay.
And a beautiful sunset. So thanks to Joseph for sharing this. Ryan's Picks at CBC.ca. Quick update. That is Rafael. Hurricane over Cuba, western Cuba right now. Not good news there. Category 2 storm. Destructive winds, the heavy rain, and that storm. Huge shift in the track of this. And yesterday it was looking like it was going to track up towards the Gulf. It's going to kind of stall a little bit, which is where models really do struggle, but it's now expected to stay further to the west into the weekend. So keeping an eye on that in the coming days. Obviously no threat to the Maritimes, but a noteworthy storm there. Here closer to home, temperatures tomorrow 10 to 14. Generally a mix of sun and cloud. There is a chance for isolated showers into the afternoon. So certainly making note of that. But that front is what brings that much cooler air mass, that lingering chance of a shower for tomorrow. And then Friday, we're watching another system that's going to be approaching, but that's not until late day. Showers, maybe a few flurries in the mix on Saturday with cooler temps, and keeping an eye on Remembrance Day.
Definitely.
I'm sure you are. Okay, a satellite has been launched into space from Cape Canaveral, Florida. And this one is different from all others. It's made of wood.
And liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Falcon, go Sierra.
Scientists hope to determine whether timber could be used in exploration of the moon and Mars. Built by Japanese scientists, the satellite will head to the International Space Station and will later be released into orbit about 400 kilometers above the Earth.
It will stay there for 6 months. Electronic components on the satellite will measure how wood endures the extreme environment of space. Temperatures there can drop to as low as minus 100 degrees Celsius.
That's chilly.
Should be a good test.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.